get ready for maybe out tonight. I might be rolling around town to
The highest rank and the most coveted position in the company is that of principal dancer. Performing the most challenging lead roles, principals are responsible for carrying the weight of a ballet's story.
This company is filled with talented, gorgeous dancers. And sometimes I think, how did I ever make it to principal?
When you get promoted, especially to principal, you immediately realize you have more responsibility.
It does add pressure onto you to step up to the plate, to deliver every single night.
I've been a principal for a long time, and if I go out there and I mess something up or I'm not really on my game, people aren't forgiving anymore. They're like, well, you're Ashley BOUDER, you should be able to do this. You know, not like, oh, well, she's human, she's having a bad day. It took me 3.5 years to get to soloist, and it took me 11 months after that to get to principal. You know, in hindsight, 4.5 years is not a lot of time, but when you're in the middle of it, you want it so badly, it feels like forever. Just so I can get through my days, I take B12, vitamin D, vitamin C, magnesium for muscle tiredness and fatigue. I take glucosamine chondroitin because I have arthritis in my back. Also, obviously I take Advil every night for anti-inflammatory before I go to bed. When you're younger, you know, it feels like you should be going out, you should be doing all this stuff, and it feels like a sacrifice. But now that I've seen, you know, where my career has gone and all of the good things that have happened, it's fine. You know, as a principal, I am so separated from being soloist or corps that now it's just kind of how it is for me. And when I'm wrapped up in my own world, I easily forget, you know, what it's like to be the other ranks. Sometimes I envy those corps de ballet girls who are so tired, but they go out that third ballet and they're like dancing with each other and having so much fun because no one's watching them 100% of the time. You know, I can never do that. I go out there, and when I'm on stage, the majority of the people are looking at me because I'm in the front or I'm by myself, or it's a much harder concentration level, and there's never really that time to let go.
Although that this is a physical performing art, mental strength is a big piece of how to succeed here.
The mental health of the dancer is so important, and it's such a mind game, totally. Really what we do is about 80% mental and probably only about 20% physical.
You don't want to be in your head thinking, oh, here's that hard step coming up that I have had to practice 20 times and still don't really feel confident in. You know, you have to like get into kind of a meditative state where you're just within the music.
It's going to be good or it's not going to be good, and you just have to go out there and enjoy it regardless. Sure, things might not go perfectly, but change it up in the moment. If you're off, do something different and sell it.
You spend the whole day going, make sure you do this, make sure you make that correction, make this change here, make this change there, and then right before the show you go, now don't think about any of that.
I got my apprenticeship in 2003, became a corps de ballet in 2004, and then a year and a half later, I found myself doing Swan Lake at age 19. It kind of was just like out of nowhere. I remember the season that I got promoted to principal, I was doing like 11 to 13 ballets a week. I was kind of going through that period where I was like, I want every show to be perfect. I want everything to go well. If something doesn't go well, then it's just like a crap show. The fall season is really tough all around. So like this 4th week, everybody's just running on steam. An everyday pain is always gonna be there. Like you make a checklist in your head of like how many things are hurting, what you need to take care of, what do you need to do to get through this show, to get through these rehearsals. But you just have to accept that you're gonna be in pain a lot. It's just how it is. Yeah. I still to this day feel like I am not adequate enough in a lot of things that I do. I see other dancers, other principal dancers, other corps de ballet members. I'm just like, why don't I have that? That's amazing. I want to be able to do that. It's not about how high your leg is, how high you can jump, how many turns you did. As an artist, it's not about that. And I feel like if you are in this profession, you should be in it for the artistry. That's what makes a difference to the audience. That's what they relate to. That's what they come back for.
Without the technique, you can't do a lot of things. You can't do a lot of the roles. Physically, you just can't do them. But without the artistry, you can't be a ballerina.
The first time I had to perform a ballet with 3 rehearsals prior to going out there and being the front person on the stage and not following anybody else, I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep for like 2 nights before that. I don't ever want to do it again. But.
Yeah. Altogether, it took me 8 or 9 years to achieve principal. I grew up in the South Bronx. My mother is Puerto Rican and my dad is from Trinidad. I was 12, I believe, 12, 13 when I started ballet. I was in class literally with 5, 6-year-olds, 6-year-old guys. So I had a lot of catching up to do. And my mother said, well, if you want to do this, you have to get there on your own. So she took me on the subway. She showed me how to walk and the safe things to do. And the next day she said, okay, this is it. You have to go on your own and be safe. I love you. And come home. So this is where I spent 3rd to 8th grade. Besides doing hip hop right here in this backyard, there was no dance here, no classical dance. I kind of stretched the truth in a way. I would say, yeah, I'm going downtown, I'm dancing with all these girls. And then finally, when I was leaving my last year, I said, I'm doing ballet. Yeah, and they were just like, what? You know, it's unheard of around here, you know? But I really didn't care what other people thought. I thought that it meant something to me, and it touched me deeply. And if I was gonna be good at it, I had to go with it full-heartedly. I was 12 years old. I saw New York City Ballet do Agon. I knew instantly that I wanted to dance for New York City Ballet, and I wanted to do those ballets. It looked easy, and then when I started ballet, I realized, oh, this is the hardest shit in the world. I mean, it's hard to make it look that easy. I do look back and I think that it's a huge accomplishment from what I've come from, you know. I would never have imagined that I would be performing at Lincoln Center with the New York City Ballet every night.
Matilda's not about a witch.
She's not a little baby witch?
No, she just has magical powers.
Kind of witchy.